In this video, we will see how we can write a C program in order to create a very simple calculator. Now here what I have done is I have used the code from the previous tutorial, and what we will write is a very simple calculator where the user will enter the two numbers and then we will perform all the four operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division, and we will display the result. Now here, in order to store the two values that will be entered by the user, what we do is we will use the variables of type double. So it's going to be double, and for storing the two numbers, I'm going to call the variables as num1 and num2. And after that, what we can do is we can use the printf function and we can ask the user to enter the two numbers. So I'm going to say enter number 1 and number 2, and then I will insert a new line. And after that, we can use the scanf function and we can read the input for num1 and num2. So it will be scanf. And now, since the values that we want to scan are of type double, we will use the format specifier %lf. And then after one number, let's have a space, and then we will specify another number. So the user will enter one number and then he will press the enter key or a space, and then he will enter the second number. And after that, where we want to store the red values, we want to store them in this num1 and num2. And with the scanf function, we have to provide the address of the variables where we want to store the values. Address of num1 and the address of num2. And this operator is called as the address of operator. Okay. So now what we have here is two numbers that are entered by the user. Next, what we do is we will perform the addition, subtraction, multiplication and division operations, and we will display the result. For that, we will directly use the printf function, and here we will format the output in such a way that it will display num1 plus num2 is equal to result. So here the format will be %lf space, and then I'm going to have the plus here and then a space and then %lf equal to %lf, and then we will insert a new line. So now here we have to provide the values for these placeholders. The first placeholder will get the value of num1, the second placeholder will get the value of num2, and for the third placeholder we have to perform the addition operation. So I will use a parenthesis in order to group this operation, and what we have to do is we have to perform num1 plus num2. So it will be num1 plus num2 like this. Okay, so num1 plus num2 is equal to the result of num1 plus num2. Now similarly, we have to do for subtraction, multiplication and division. So I will copy this, paste it in here. I will change the operator to minus, and then here we will perform num1 minus num2. And then I'm going to paste it one more time, and this time we will perform for multiplication, and this time it will be num1 multiplied by num2. And now the next thing that we have to do is we have to perform num1 divided by num2. But while performing the division, we have to make sure that the num2 is not 0. For that, we will have a check here. We will check if num2 is equal to 0, then it means that we can't perform the division operation because it will be a divide by 0 situation. For that, we will use the printf function in here, and we will say num2 is 0, so can't divide by 0. Okay. If the num2 is not 0, for that we will have the else block, and here we will perform num1 divided by num2. So we will paste the code that we had for this addition. Now we will change the operator to division, and here we will perform num1 divided by num2. A very simple program that we have written in here. Now the next thing that we do is we will save it and we will run this. So now it will say enter num1 and num2. I'm going to enter 10 space 30, and if I hit the enter key, it will display 10 plus 30 is equal to 40, then 10 minus 30 is equal to minus 20, and then 10 multiplied by 30 is equal to 300, and then 10 divided by 30 is equal to 0.333. Now here the values are displayed with 6 decimal places. If you want to control that, then you can do that. For example, here with every number we can say percentage dot to LF. Okay, we're gonna do this for all these printf statements, something like this, and then I will save this program and I will run this. Now this time I'm gonna enter, let us say num1 equal to 50.8 and num2 I'm gonna enter 0. If I hit the enter key, we have entered 50.8 and then 0. So 50.8 plus 0 is equal to same, then minus same value, then multiplication, it will be 0. And since the num2 is 0, it will say num2 is 0, so you can't divide by 0. Now here the variables are of type double, so while performing this comparison operation whether num2 is 0 or not, we can have 0.0. So in that way, we are comparing double with the double. Now the next thing that we do here is we will talk about the mistakes the beginners make. One thing is this divide by 0 situation, they don't check for that. The second one is if they have the comparison operator, instead of double equal to, that is for comparing, they use single equal to, which is for assignment. So this is one mistake the beginners make. And again, about the scanf function, we have talked about that in the previous tutorial. So now what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to add one more functionality, and that is for displaying the reminder value when we divide a number by another number. Add that part, and if you get any issue, then do let me know in the comment section. So this is it guys for this particular video. Thank you for watching. If you like it, hit the like button. If you don't like it, hit the dislike button. If you have anything to say, write that in the comment box. For more tutorials, subscribe to the channel.